So here we go. We got a couple of fired up puppies. This is the first day I've felt as though I might even be approaching normal. It's Monday evening. Last Thursday night, I just got hit with a ton of bricks with the flu or COVID or RSV, or I don't think it's RSV, some kind of virus, fucking something. And Friday and Saturday, it took me down like nothing's ever taken me down before, at least that abruptly. Just bam, I had nothing. So anyway, I don't know if this is practice or something I'm going to put up. I'd like to get back on my game where I sit down and every video I do is pretty much off the cuff, ready to rock and roll. So let's move over Joy Reid. I really can't fucking stand. And we can explore that a little bit and watch this fucking bullshit. So, wait, you know what? Let's put her on hold. She's commenting with some hand-picked piece of shit legislator. Sorry. This guy's a big fat fucking phony. And where the fuck is it? Here it is. And it's about Zuckerberg and what he said about backing off on censorship on Meta, which means Facebook and Instagram, so far as I know. So, here's him.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system.
I want to interrupt here.
Second, we're going to simplify our content policies.
Because I think a lot of people are listening to what he said and saying, oh, he's totally on board with Trump, which I'm pretty sure Joy Reid says. And what happened after 2016, and I was one of them, kind of. There was a thing, TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. I think people lost their fucking mind. They couldn't stand listening to Donald Trump. He's always bullshitting. Best ever, like never before. Fucking when he was on Joe Rogan, when he was running for president, they talked about water. And he said something akin to, there's all this water up in Canada, and Canada is upstream from California, and all we got to do is release the water and get rid of the roadblocks, and it'll just flow right down, and the California drought problem will be solved. But they won't, for whatever reason, they're keeping the roadblock. It was just like nonsense. Literally like a 12-year-old making shit up. Anyway, so after 2016, the people who couldn't stand Trump said, you gotta shut him up. You gotta shut his followers up, which is fucking wrong. I don't want to hear a bunch of bullshit, but I do want people to be free to say whatever the fuck they want, shy of like fire in a burning building or calling for crimes and or commission of, hate acts on people.
Address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth.
Hi, Lucy.
But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
For sure.
So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse.
Right. So if you said the border's fucked up, illegal immigrants cost U.S. citizens jobs, they drive down wages, on and on and on, that would get fucking yanked from Facebook. You couldn't say, I personally think that until Trump got elected, it was one of the one things that I was in favor of the guy for, was that the southern border is the biggest existential threat to the United States as we know it, as a legitimately operating, constitutionally limited republic that's democratically elected with a free and open market capitalist economy. Period. So he said immigration and what was it? Things kind of went hyper woke.
We're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive.
So like if you're on Facebook and you say, look, as far as I'm concerned, if you have a penis, you're a man. If you say that on Facebook, or if you said that on Facebook, fucking you're gone. You're gone. You're either suspended or your account's completely gone. That's a reasonable thing to say. I think if you have a penis, you're a man. Plain and simple. If you identify as a woman, you want to wear dresses and call yourself Christina instead of Christopher, and fucking knock yourself out. But you're a biological male, period. That's just a fact. Sorry. Who's a woman? Anybody who says they're a woman. What's the goddamn problem here? It's locked up.
Has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms.
What's wrong with that?
Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less
Best I could do no harm, right? We're going to restrict everything everybody says in case somebody says something wrong. That's totally antithetical to the First Amendment. You got to let people say what they want to say, and some bad shit's going to get said. But that's what happens. That's what happens in a free and open society.
Require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts.
Because it was making people stressed. That's such bullshit. right? I'm stressing out reading this because I can't handle if people have opinions. Well, then get the fuck off it.
But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook.
They didn't never not want to see it. It's just the fucking wokesters screamed louder than anybody else, and they won the contest.
Instagram and Threads, while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally,
and he doesn't want to say it, so there's less concern about the bias of our teams, and a place we can go where we can hire people who aren't hyper biased and who are going to do what I actually say. California's a fucking shit show, man.
We're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression.
That kind of one part of that one statement, going to work with Trump with how he's going to handle foreign policy. We don't know that his foreign policy isn't going to be let's just say tactful at this point. So he's maybe putting the cart before the horse there a little bit, and maybe he is earning a few points there, which might be a fair statement, which we're about to hear.
In the world.
Let's go back.
Governments around the world, they're going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world.
That's a fact.
Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there.
This is very true.
Latin American countries.
Very true. My home country of Scotland, oh my God, they are right now putting people in jail for saying, like, if you said, I don't care if you went from Chris to Christie and you went from jeans to skirts. If you got a penis, you're a dude. That could land you in jail in fucking Scotland. What am I doing here?
In the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it.
Canada, for sure.
It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove.
See?
But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Well, I'll tell you what, Judy. I'd like to read the lyrics to a song, and if you will name out the various people you'd like me to do, we'll give it a try.
I don't know how I got to that. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm still under the weather. Hi, Lucy. Lucy, are you listening to me? Huh? So we'll move me back. We'll take away tiny me. Tiny me. Bye-bye. The jumping on board with the presumption that Trump's foreign policy is going to be a smash hit is maybe, like I said, a bit preemptive. But I didn't hear anything that fundamentally was objectionable at all with regard to what he said, or wasn't historically pretty much spot on. So, which takes us to, let's see, takes us to this. So we got to move this guy over. Bam.
With 2 weeks to go until the change in administrations, America's CEOs and tech leaders are practically falling all over themselves, trying to preemptively curry favor with the future president. That includes Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who today announced his company will end its fact-checking program that was established during Trump's first term to curb misinformation across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy.
So she takes snippets.
We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
Instead, Zuckerberg says they will implement a community notes-like system similar to what Elon Musk has on X Twitter, because that's working out just so well.
Twitter.
He also says the company will undo changes that reduce the amount of political content in users' feeds, similar to what Elon Musk has on X Twitter, because that's working out just so well. He also says the company will undo...
Okay. How about you're not snide and fucking smarmy? What's your objection? What is not working out so well? I personally applaud what Elon did with Twitter. He bought it. He removed the censorship and restored the First Amendment in the United States. And I think arguably the biggest social media platform that exists, right? Isn't Twitter bigger post-wise than Facebook?
Changes that reduce the amount of political content in users' feeds and get rid of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are, quote, out of touch with mainstream discourse. And it all comes just one day after Zuckerberg announced that Dana White, CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship and a longtime friend of Trump, is joining the board of Meta. Joining me now is Congressman Ro Khanna, Democrat.
Listen, and a long-time friend of Trump. Look, again, not a huge Trump fan. I didn't vote for him. I did not vote for Kamala. Didn't vote for either of them. Not going to vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm not going to vote for somebody I don't fucking support. Anyway, if she's going to call him Trump, then don't complain when somebody calls Kamala Kamala, because that just makes you a fucking hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. Let's listen to this guy. This guy's, who the fuck is this guy? She found who she needed. Listen to this bullshit that's going to come out of his mouth.
From California, Congressman Ro Khanna, I didn't even mention it also comes after Meta for the first time decided to give to an inauguration. They never gave. They gave nothing in 2021. They're giving $1 million now, as is OpenAI, as is Amazon. So it seems like the fix is in. The tech bros have decided they want to go MAGA. Your thoughts?
That's not true.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the biggest damage Meta is doing, and that is to our kids. I mean, they're feeding...
It's doing damage to our kids. The context here is this change. Is he suggesting that this change all of a sudden is bringing harm to our kids, allowing more politics in? I don't get it. This is such bullshit. This is such fucking spin, deflection, bullshit. Straight up bullshit.
Eating disorders and algorithms to young people. They're feeding suicidal thoughts to young people.
Feeding suicidal thoughts. Really? Where the fuck did you come up with that? He's literally making this shit up.
And they have opposed through lobbying any effort to get the Kids Online Safety Act. And then I'm for free speech, but free speech doesn't mean that you have sexual harassment and intimidation and hate speech.
I just played Zuckerberg's entire statement. Was any of that in there? Was it intimated? Was it suggested? This guy's out of his fucking mind and a bullshitter. This is total fucking demagoguery. You fucking loser.
on a platform. It doesn't mean that you have bots running amok, which aren't even human beings, and they aren't tackling any of that. And it doesn't mean that you have misinformation related to public health that could lead to sickness.
Where the fuck did public health come from? Sickness. So it's going to kill children. It's going to make people ill and cause them to die. What else?
Disease and even death.
Death. People are going to die.
But it seems that that's what they do mean, though, Congressman. The anger that the right felt was in part because they want to say conspiracy theories about things like gender and immigration and race. But also this. Let me let you listen to Meta's chief global affairs officer. He gave an exclusive interview to Fox and said the following. This is Joel Kaplan.
We got a lot of pressure around COVID in particular to take down more content, even things like humor. And
I'm not worried about him. This guy's a clown. He didn't represent himself very well. So let's get rid of Tiny Me. Bye, guy. Whoops. And put back Big Me. There I am. And we'll wrap this up. So Joy Reid's a bad faith player. That guy she found, he's a fucking piece of work. Zuckerberg might be snuggling up to Trump a little bit early, but in terms of what he's doing from a First Amendment standpoint, I totally applaud him. He's making it less political. If he's making his censorship less political, if you want to get on there and say what the fuck you want to say, and it pisses people off, that's the First Amendment. And that's exactly what the First Amendment is. It's not policing things that people don't like that you might say. If everything that was allowed to be said were things that anyone and anything, anytime, still a little groggy here, would necessarily agree with and or like, then there's no need for the First Amendment, right? The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to work through disagreements, is to say things that are controversial, is to get new thoughts over there, is to be provocative, right? And to solve problems and to create problems that need solving. I mean, that may sound absurd, but it actually serves a purpose anyway. So that's my take on those two things. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. So as long as I'm bagging on Joy Reid, we have the California wildfires. Listen to this. So here's Fox just being totally fucking disingenuous. And it's harder to catch them doing their fucking bullshit. But this is...
Years ago, we had our base of operations just down the street from where you are at Gladstones as we were covering the old Topanga Canyon fire. I mean, this keeps happening year after year after year. How is it that it keeps happening? Trump back in 2020 was very critical of California for not enforcing rules to clear underbrush and make sure that the forest's floors were clean to stop.
Fucking for real? In 2020, Trump put something into place that was going to stop house fires on Pacific Palisades? It's jumping from fucking home to home to home. Homes that are built next to one another. You're talking about forest fire fucking preventions. And oh, by the way, you can't completely do away with forest fires. But these aren't even forest fires. They're jumping from wooden home to wooden home to wooden home. Didn't Trump ensure in 2020 that this wouldn't happen? And now they haven't followed his edict and the whole fucking place is burning because they don't listen to Trump? Jesus Christ, man, really? And watch, the guy actually says, it's not really how it works.
Trump back in 2020 was very critical of California for not enforcing rules to clear underbrush and make sure that the forest floors were clean to stop these fires from spreading so rapidly. Why does this keep happening again and again?
Why? Well, there's a multitude of reasons, right? But number one, this fire in Pali started in a residential area. That didn't have anything to do with the wildfires that we often do see that start in the national forest or in the what we call the urban-rural interface, where a lot of people have moved into, and frankly, they don't take proper care and don't put surrounding their homes and take care of it like that. But we now have, and this isn't going to really answer your question, but we have a year-round fire season. Right now, we've got marginal.
So I thought he got into it a little bit more deeply, but he's like, no, this isn't a forest fire. It's a fucking homes burning, fucking apples and oranges. Anyway, let me go back to me. So I just like being equal opportunity, because here's some clown fucking saying that they didn't listen to Trump in 2020 and now homes are burning. And that's just such fucking horseshit. Anyway, so there you go. If you're not alt-right and you're not alt-left, maybe you're alt-center. If you're alt and you're not alt-right and you're not alt-left, I'd say you are alt-center. Maybe you should go to my website, altcenter.net, the Alt-Center Network. Right? Do you love your country? Now you're left of right and right of left. You're still pulling your fucking hair out. Maybe you're alt-center. All right, that's it. Sorry, I'm still getting over this fucking crazy ass bug. I hope it made sense. Take it easy. Good night. Good night.